Welcome to this step-by-step ASP.NET Core tutorial for beginners. Whether you are brand new to web development or just getting started with the .NET Core, you are in the right place. In this video, we will guide you from the basics to building your first ASP.NET Core application with complete clarity. Here is what we will cover in this video. We will start by understanding what ASP.NET Core is and why it is so powerful for modern development. Then we will set up your development environment and walk through building your first project step by step. So, why should you learn ASP.NET Core? It is fast, secure, cross-platform and backed by Microsoft. That means you are learning a future-proof framework used by companies all over the world for building scalable and secure web applications. Before we begin, make sure you have the tools ready. You will need Visual Studio or VS Code, the latest .NET SDK installed, and a browser to test your app. Don't worry, I will guide you through each step, even if you are not familiar with all these tools. Now that you are set up and ready, let us dive into the practical part. We will create a new project, understand the folder structure, and then build and run your very first ASP.NET Core web application. Welcome to the world of routing. In this video, we will explore the fundamental concepts of routing in ASP.NET Core. Routing is a crucial part of any web application as it determines how incoming URLs are mapped to specific controller actions. In simple terms, routing is like a traffic controller for your web application. When a user enters a URL in their browser, the routing system analyzes the URL and determines which controller and action method should handle the request. Without routing, your application wouldn't know what code to execute when a user requests a specific URL. It is the foundation for building well-structured and navigable web applications. ASP.NET Core comes with a default root configuration that handles most common URL patterns. This root is typically defined in your program.cs file. Let us take a closer look at the default root. app.mapController root name default pattern controller equal home / action equal index / id. The pattern parameter defines the structure of the URL. Controller is equal to home specifies the controller name. If no controller is specified in the URL, it defines to home. Action is equal to index specifies the action method name. If no action is specified in the URL, it defaults to index. ID specify an optional ID parameter. The question mark indicates that this parameter is optional. This is often used for passing an ID to retrieve or update a specific item. Let us see how the default route works with an example URL product/detail/5. In this URL, products maps to the products controller. Details maps to the details action method within the products controller, and 5 maps to the optional ID parameter. So, this URL will execute the details action method in the products controller and pass the value 5 as the ID parameter. This is how ASP.NET Core uses the default route to determine which code to execute. While the default route is sufficient for many applications, you may need to define custom routes to create more specific and SEO friendly URLs. Custom route allow you to tailor the URL structure to your application's specific needs. For example, you might want to create a route that maps URLs like shop, electronics, laptop to the details section in the products controller. To define a custom route, you can use the app.mapControllerRoute method and specify a custom pattern parameter. You can also use the defaults parameter to specify default values for the controller and action. Custom routes give you a lot of flexibility in designing the URL structure of your application. Another way to define routes in ASP.NET Core is to use attribute routing. Attribute routing allows you to define routes directly on your controller actions using attributes. To use attribute routing, you need to enable it in your program.cs file by calling app.useRouting and app.useEndpoints. Then you can add the route attribute to your controller actions and specify the URL pattern. Attribute routing can be useful for defining complex routes or for grouping related routes together. In this video, we have explored the basics of routing in ASP.NET Core. We have learned what routing is, how the default route works, and how to define custom routes and how to use attribute routing. Routing is a fundamental concept in ASP.NET Core, and mastering it is essential for building well-structured and navigable web applications. I encourage you to experiment with the different routing configurations and learn how to create URLs that are both user-friendly and SEO-friendly.